This is Maurice Jones-Drew, and you're listening to the What's Bruin Show.
You're listening to the What's Bruin Show, part of the What's Bruin Show network, with your hosts, Jake Berryfield and Mike Regalado, and occasionally some friends, talking all things UCLA sports. And now, it's time for the What's Bruin Show.
Well, hello. Welcome to What's Bruin. I am your host, Jake Berryfield, and I'm joined by my good buddy, Mike Regalado.
What's up,
Bruin
y'all?
Report Online. Yeah. And I'm also joined by one William Henry Shirley III.
Hey,
Let's go.
what's going on, everybody? What's going on?
So that being said, we're going to start the show over again
Why?
in a traditional way.
Yeah.
Give it to me, Shirley.
Oh, dear God. And welcome to What's Bruin, a show about anything and everything Bruin sports. I am your sometimes once a year host, Bill Shirley.
Your entire life has prepared you to publicly
It's an
fail.
oldie but a goodie.
You're just failing to see that right now.
There you
Bill,
go.
welcome back to the show.
Hey, thank you. Thank you.
A one-off. We were over in the West Valley
Yes.
watching a couple young lads playing some volleyball,
Yes.
spiking and setting and serving into the net, sometimes over the net.
Over the net,
But
sometimes into it.
I'm
Yeah.
proud of the boys. They look good.
Thank you.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
and Mike came out. It was a What's Bruin party.
It was.
Hells yeah.
I honestly thought
in
you
the
guys.
West Valley.
I thought you guys were going to literally start potting from the game.
The original plan was,
Oh, damn, we should have.
but when I walked in, and then the girls are all over in the stands, but the men, what do we do?
We were by the camera talking.
We were on the baseline.
Yeah.
You're recording, because of course this all has scholarship and financial aid implications, of course.
Hopefully.
So when we took that posture, I was like, yeah, we'll abort that. I do know that Suzanne's probably pissed that we didn't ask her for trivia because she offered trivia
She did.
and I didn't take her up on it. And I'll bet she had something in the can.
We should check.
You could call her.
Yeah,
So I'm
can.
going to put a pin in. I'm going to put a pin in it for next week because we're going to be at the next game. I know Mike is. Mike, I don't know if you're going to be there.
No.
Okay, Mike said no already,
Yeah.
but
Well,
he'll meet
it's
us
far.
here.
It's far for Mike, guys. To be fair.
Well, it's far for all of us.
Yeah.
How in God's name
Well, maybe. I mean,
have children
if it's early enough.
that go to school, like literally, it's like 70 miles from where you live. It's like driving to Riverside and back,
Yeah,
getting these kids to school every day. How in the hell do they manage this? I don't get it. Well, now they have cars, but
No, they have cars.
like I'll never understand. It's like my mind is blown.
Yeah, it's not.
As someone whose kids always went to the school within their, there's public school, corporate private school bill, the things. But hey, these kids,
It's all good.
they're successful.
Yeah.
They're looking good. Don't like the shorts, but in that,
Oh,
look very manly.
no one does. No
Yeah.
one likes it.
But anywho, it's What's Bruin Show, the What's Bruin Show Network. Thank you for your support. At What's Bruin Show on Instagram, Twitter, Threads, which I don't know the last time we ever posted on. Mike will post on some of that stuff.
On Threads? You guys are on Threads?
We are, but
I don't know the last time we posted on Threads. I'm saying that, at least on the Twitter or the X, like Mike still posts stuff, sort of. I do sometimes. It's not football season yet, so I'll start posting.
I've jumped on the blue sky.
Have you
Like,
really?
Get the fuck
Yeah.
out of here with the blue sky at this point. Like, I tried to make it a thing. It's not a thing. It's gone.
No, it's a thing.
Just like Threads, it's gone.
It's a
No one cares.
Sans Nazis. That's the one thing.
Oh,
Which is why there's nobody on there.
That's true. Because, if you're on Twitter, you're,
what's the one you're on? Substack.
Oh, yeah. But, yeah, we're on that. But yeah, speaking of Substack, what'sbruin.substack.com, patreon.com/what'sbruinshow, or what'sbruinshow.com. Those are all the things. Oh, Mike. Bill.
Yep.
Yes.
I have to check. I shouldn't say this on the air, but I have to check the what'sbruin.com domain because I think the credit card that I've been paying for that for like literally, 13 years at this point. I think it finally expired or something.
What's Bruin?
Expired.
I got an email that said,
Expired.
you better update your billing information or you're going to lose what'sbruinshow.com. So please don't steal it out there.
Oh, God. I think there's a lot of people waiting and wanting.
Maybe 5 years ago when UCLA was in the Pac-12 and, we had something, right after Chip Kelly got hired or in prime Mora years, this is what
Nope,
the
still
What's Bruin
good.
Show,
Hooked up to the Patreon.
this is what the What's Bruin Show audience sounded like. Now that we're in the Big Ten and we have Deshaun Foster and we just missed a bowl game, now here's the What's Bruin Show audience. But hope springs eternal, doesn't it?
It does. It
Yeah.
does. It does. Mike talked about, a little side note, Mike talked about there's a little bit more NIL money coming in. So, there could be, it could.
Well, they
it'd be a
definitely have
mixture.
money. That's the whole reason they're in the Big Ten, I guess.
Yeah.
Well,
Hopefully. Less
all right.
crickets, more clapping.
I'm all for that. But follow the show, subscribe, whatever. Oh, on YouTube as well. Search What's Bruin Show. So anywho, Bill,
Yes.
why the F do you want to come on the show tonight, dude? This is awesome. We love this. This is great.
Guys, I mean, it was
I
so
did a double take. I was like, wait, what?
well, no, because you guys
Bruins.
came out and
Go
supported the
Bruins!
kids, and
Go
so
Bruin.
you guys didn't have
Kind
to
of
do
feeling
that.
a little nostalgic?
I was like, I said, man, you know what?
Yeah.
I want to keep this going.
The title show. Keep it going. Let's keep it going. We almost went to a bar if the place had been fucking open.
I know, but doesn't it
That
look
was a
cool?
shame.
It's called the Rabbit Hole.
I'm ready. I'm there.
I know. I want to try it out one day.
So, anywho, you're
Yes.
here, and we're here to talk,
Let's talk
basketball, I suppose. I don't know why the dog's in here. I thought I closed the door, but anyway, we'll get him out of here. But we're going to talk some basketball, some men's, which was, a little bit of this, and the women's, which was a lot of this.
Straight baller.
Right?
Yes.
I don't know. You want to talk men's or women's first, guys?
Let's do men's.
Okay, men's
Yeah.
men's basketball. Here we go. If I can find the theme.
Gotta use the restroom. Hold
Oh, Bill's got to use the potty. Okay, after this break. Okay, so UCLA men's basketball. Mike wants to talk about how they kind of finished the Big Ten tournament with a whimper, and then they get in the NCAA tournament and they actually have a nice showing against the Aggies. Right, a matchup they're supposed to win.
Yeah.
The 7-10 matchup, and they kick the shit out of the Aggies.
Yeah, they did.
72-47 is nice game. And then as we were kind of talking about last week, chalk was they're going to lose in the second round of the tournament to Tennessee Volunteers.
Mhm.
And Mike and I were talking about how it would be we would be happy with them getting the Sweet 16 this year. Not super happy, but happy. Like that would be quote unquote okay, pretty good, successful end of the season. And losing to Tennessee, although it's what was supposed to happen, it does feel a little bit deflating and disappointing. I think that's kind of where we land on this.
Yeah.
Right, guys?
Yeah.
So, Mikey, just real quick, your thoughts on the Utah State game before we move on to the game they lost against Tennessee.
That was just a pretty brilliant game from the beginning. UCLA asserted itself. What was the halftime score? 39-27. Then they just blew them out of the water in the second half. Just pretty amazing game overall, considering they got shot out of the Big Ten tournament. Wisconsin shot the lights out on them. So we were talking about how they kind of need to bounce back, and we thought that they would win, and sure enough, yeah, they did. They just overmatched Utah State. Really good field goal percentage, 48%. That's above their season average. They actually hit all of their free throws. Shocker.
I know.
41%, 42% from the 3-point line. They usually average 35. These guys were just on another level. This is the energy that should have been brought to the Big Ten tournament, but hey, better late than never. And they really put a complete game together. The only problem is that this team is so freaking inconsistent that when we get to the next game, we see how just things kind of fall apart. But what did you guys think of the Utah State game?
It was a nice start to the tournament. The defense was what really got me, right? It is holding them to, and they didn't do it. They held them to 47 points.
That's crazy, yeah.
47 points, guys. That's awesome.
Held them to 30% on the field,
Yeah.
12.9 from the 3-point line.
Oh, it's just beautiful. And they did, let's just be fair to Utah. They did have some open shots. It's not like we were just, our defense wasn't that amazing. They just weren't hitting some open shots either. So that just, and it sort of probably got in their head. But it was good to see the defense and how they played that game, just for Utah.
Absolutely. And I just thought that it was, look, I expect them to win in that game. But a few, we got closer and closer to, they played Thursday or Friday? Played Thursday, right?
Friday.
Yes,
Right.
Thursday.
Oh,
Thursday. No,
Yeah,
you're right.
Thursday,
You're right,
Saturday,
Mike.
Thursday, Saturday. As Thursday approached, after the seedings were announced, UCLA, in some places, was becoming one of the trendy upset picks. Oh, those Aggies, they can shoot the three, and the Bruins, they give up so many threes, and da-da-da-da-da. So I was just happy that I was expecting them to beat Utah State, but I was happy when they did, and did in relatively dominating fashion, because, like we said, that was what the chalk thing was. It would be colossally upsetting if they would have got bounced in the first round of the NCAA tournament.
Yes.
It's still disappointing they lose in the second round, as we're going to talk about now, but much less so than if they would have lost to a higher seed after kind of backing into the NCAA tournament in the way in which they did, right? which leads us to the game against the Volunteers, which I don't think in any way, shape, or form in a vacuum you can look at that game and say that it's absolutely flabbergasting or surprising that they lost to the Volunteers in the way that they did. Number one, it's not shocking. Would we have been surprised if they would have beat the Volunteers? No, but it's not shocking they lost. It's not shocking that they kind of were dominating in the second half because the Volunteers, as Mike's been harping on, are a much more consistent team than the Bruins have been all goddamn year.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But if we're going to harp on something, I guess I'll harp on it a little bit later. My point is, this is a Dante from Clerks argument. I'm not even supposed to be here today. The Bruins were not supposed to be the 7th fucking seed.
No.
If they don't fuck up the end of the year, and if they don't fuck up the Big Ten tournament, they're not a 7th seed, and they don't have to play Tennessee.
But
that's where the failure was. The skid in the middle of the season, the skid at the end of the season, and that's which is like they're saying we're not supposed to be here today. But as Mike's pointed out, you're inconsistent. So guess what? That's what you bought yourself.
But and side note, just a little
Let's go.
Small tangent. Oregon wasn't some world beater this past year. In fact, UCLA beat them twice.
Yeah.
Beat Arizona, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's
Gonzaga.
Yeah, and it's just frustrating that they didn't have as many quad one, they being Oregon, did not have as many quad one wins, and yet they got a 5 seed. And I guess the argument could be, well, guys, when they played in the Big Ten tournament, at least they won their first game. So maybe if UCLA would have won their first effing game, maybe they would have been a 5. Maybe that's the control what you can control.
And absolutely, or at the very least, it would have been a 6. At the very least.
Yeah. And if they didn't get blown out in the way they did, because, wow, the 3-point shots allowed. by
Wisconsin?
That,
Yeah.
woof.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if they would have lost by like 2 or 3, I could see them getting a better seed, but even still, you can't lose your first game.
Yeah, and that's the
as a 4
inconsistency.
seed in getting the double
And we're
bye
going back to the
as
Big
a
Ten
4
tournament.
seed.
Yeah,
No,
we made such a big deal about the stars fucking aligning for them to get the double bye. And then they come out and
they
just
lay a big
freaking egg.
Yeah,
and it's just terrible.
And so they pay for it in the in their seeding in the NCAA. And now I'm sure we're about to talk about it.
And it buys them a matchup against
Tennessee, which is like, oh my God. And Jake said, we came over for that game. And it was like, I wouldn't be surprised if they win.
Those boys ate a lot of meat.
They did. It was a really good. He wouldn't be surprised if they won, and he wouldn't be surprised if they lost.
Yeah.
And it was frustrating. I'm sure Mike will, and you
Turns
guys
out they lost.
I'll go one further. We wouldn't be surprised if they lost by a little. We wouldn't be surprised if they lost by a lot, which they did. So
it's just frustrating. I mean, it was
they hung in there.
They hung in there the first half. Mike, what was? We were talking about it before we started recording. What was the halftime score?
God, what was it? 32 to 25.
Okay,
it was here,
and it was something where it was
32-25.
32-25, and it was closer. Tennessee went on an 8-0 run near the end of this.
It spanned the halves, a 22-6 run spanning the halves.
Oh,
that's what. Because look, if you look at the scores of the halves, like 32-25, it's only a 7-point.
It's the same thing you say in football. What is it that you have to
the middle 8?
The middle 8.
Yeah.
It's
they got dominated in that.
In their version, in UCLA basketball's version of the middle 8, they got dominated.
Yeah, and you can see on the spread chart, the game flow chart, that's where it separates. It's where it separates. But if you look at the halves, it's like they got outscored by 7 in the first half, only outscored by 2 in the second half. But it's the fact that the entire second half of the game was played on a big margin, and they had to kind of creep back in at the end. That's the problem.
Yeah,
that's the big problem. So why do you think that? Or what did you think that they struggled with most regards to
guard play?
Yeah, explain.
I would. It was pretty clear the guards for Tennessee were much more talented and disciplined and consistent than the guards for UCLA. When I say guards for UCLA, I'm talking Dylan Andrews, Sebastian Mack, even Sky Clark. Sky Clark did. I want to make sure of those 3. Sky Clark did show up.
5 for 11, 4 for 8 from 3, 4 for 4 from 3 though.
Yeah,
18 points.
So he showed up, but it has to be more than him. And by the way, correct me if I'm wrong, Mike, didn't he get into foul trouble in the first part? He didn't play for first.
Sky Clark and Kobe Johnson.
Yeah. They got into foul trouble. So
meanwhile, Dylan Andrews and Mac, to your point, Bill, 1 for 5 combined.
Yeah.
0 for 2 from the 3-point line combined.
Yeah, it was just frustrating. Rough. And you those are more of your. I mean, I know Dylan Andrews is like veteran, right?
Yeah,
and
Sebastian, 5 turnovers by the way for Andrews.
Yeah, so
5.
That you can't win games when your veteran players are playing like that. And it's just, I don't know what's going on there. I don't know.
What the hell happened to Dylan Andrews? I want to make the obvious, like, he got his soul sucked out of him by the Monstars, but I mean, like, what the fuck happened?
I don't
like, that's
know.
the season, right?
Well, and Mike, please.
But he lost his chi.
He's literally like, he lost his mojo.
He went from this to this.
Yeah,
It's
and
ridiculous.
it was between last season and this season. So much was being billed toward this is his year. He played so well in the tournament last year. He did. He played very well near the end of the year and in the tournament. This is going to be his breakout season. It never happened. It got worse, and it just a shell of himself. So I don't know, Mike. What did you think in terms of what was the difference? In terms of Tennessee and UCLA,
a few things. Definitely guard play. Like, you cannot have your guards, and even 1 for 5, even that 5, only 5 attempts, that cannot happen. You should be able to create shots, get open shots. But yeah, as the season progressed, Andrews did not. Sky Clark did. I would say guard play was worse in the first half of the season, but Sky Clark has been balling out. He's been one of the offensive saviors. And then there's also the Trent Perry issue where he didn't get enough playing time.
No.
So
In this game, 17 minutes.
Andrews is getting all of these points and just not being very productive. Why is Cronin? Why is he pulling guys after one mistake, yet allowing Andrews to stay in there and kind of just? I'm not saying he sucked the life out of the team or the way it was executing, but it just didn't help.
What about this though? We're talking about the defense and the the offensive play of these guards, but what about the assist? This little subset.
Oh,
Yeah, because here's part of it is
'cause that was good
getting
in
the ball,
yeah.
getting the ball to the man, the 7 foot, 18 foot Mara,
7
and getting,
foot 18.
You know what I'm saying? Like, give it
Very
to
tall.
and give it to him, but giving him good passes, not bad passes.
Bill,
Does that make sense, guys? You hear
Yeah.
what I'm
it
saying?
makes perfect sense. To your point, I already said that they were one. This is Dylan Andrews and Mac combined. They were 1 for 5. Okay. They had 4 points. They had whopping 3 assists between them and 5 turnovers. Yeesh.
That was the other thing I was gonna bring up is turnovers. But and just to kind of go with this team, I want to get back to the guards. But Cronin playing and not playing certain guys has, that really affected UCLA too. Just why were there some games where Mara played less than 10 minutes or didn't play at all? He has definitely been the one player who has had the best progression throughout the season. And even though he played a lot of minutes, and even though he's going to get banged up, he's playing Division I ball.
20 minutes in this game.
How do you counter that? You get him to lift weights in the offseason. You work on his footwork.
Hopefully, keep him on the team.
Yeah, that too.
Oh, yeah.
But even still, like 20 minutes, he had 9 attempts. Even though it was 3 for 9,
He had assists
5
too, by the way.
rebounds, 3 assists, 1 rebound, 3 blocks. I mean, even if they're not elite numbers, he's getting more than other guys.
Elite
Yeah.
compared to freaking Dylan Andrews. Jesus.
Yeah. So
Elite compared to like Kyle and Daly. Daly kind of disappeared in this one as well.
And I know that the Mara story has been something we've been frustrated by throughout the season. There have been plenty of games where it was perfectly legitimate why he was not in there. He came out there and looked like a waif early in the season. They took him off. Or more often, he came out and he was sick or something or injured or something. And those are excusable. But there's plenty of games where you're like, dude, why isn't the guy out there? You look at him, he's out there for the 5 minutes. Get him out there more.
And
That's frustrating.
And then for opposite of that, he turned his ankle in that Utah State game, came out, played a little bit, and while it was clear that UCLA was going to win, Cronin put him back in with like 3 minutes left. It's like, why are you
What's
putting the
Bruin
guy
Show?
that potentially injured his ankle and you need him for the next game? Why are you putting him back in?
The What's Bruin
You're
Show
up by
mics-
20.
The What's Bruin Show microphones were there on the sideline when Cronin
Were
made
they?
that decision. You know what he said?
what happened?
Here we go, right to the footage. If he dies, he dies. It's crazy. Like, it's
Yeah.
just what he said.
It's very frustrating. But
Das Vidania, mother.
that to me was probably the biggest, the guard play. And we're gonna see that the cool thing now is that you can talk about college sports almost like the pro sports, right? In terms of like who we're getting in the draft, who we getting
It's even more pronounced and crazy.
yeah.
It's just there's no rules and
No, and just
out
people
go
just-
10. Like, look at the Bruin football team. We're going to talk about that in the next couple weeks. like half the guys are gone, half the guys are coming in. Who knows what they're going to be? They might
Yeah.
be good, they might be bad, they might suck. Who knows?
Who knows? Who
But
knows?
yeah, with the basketball, like I do want to get to that in a second. Before we get to that, I want to go through because you guys have opinions on all these players. I'll just do a lightning round real quick. But before we do that, this season ends with them losing to Tennessee in the second round, which is where they were slated to lose based on their seeding. I think all of us have said that we're mildly disappointed with the tournament result. Would that be fair to categorize?
Yeah.
No one's outraged with this, are you, Bill?
I'm not outraged.
We were mildly disappointed watching the game, even though we expected that they probably were going to lose. We certainly could have seen a world where they won that game, and
You
they didn't.
clearly haven't been on social media.
We're not talking about social media. I always said, you save Mike.
No, I know,
Mike
I know,
likes
I
Mike
know.
likes to play with the Nazis. Bill and I not as much.
No.
But so what I'm getting at though is this season, this campaign, the 2024-25
I like
campaign.
to mess with the Nazis. Thank you.
Yeah,
Let's clear that up.
Put a button on just this particular season regards to your expectations and what you see about next year before we start talking real quickly about the players. Bill, what do you think? What you about this season? Looking forward to next season.
What I liked about this season?
What do you think about this season?
This
period?
season-
Not what you liked or disliked, just whatever.
God, it's like an how do I say it?
How you say
an
it?
unfinished
Glenn
sentence,
Yeah, that's a good way to put
right?
it.
It just didn't like there's something more to this sentence and it didn't get there. And so I just feel like it just wasn't complete.
Relative to last year.
Last year was
Last year was a grand failed experiment, right?
Well, last year was I'm going European, and yeah, that just didn't work out.
So then we're going to talk about the players in a minute who might be back or what they need. But now next year, then how does this season, the unfinished sentence, make you feel about next season?
Hopefully, and I believe he does. I believe he knows what he needs, being Coach Cronin. Sorry.
Yeah.
And I think he's going to try his best. And Mike, please chime in with the NIL money. I don't know. I'm assuming it's enough to where they can try to get some players. But I really think he's going to really try to get retain certain players and try to get some better guards. That's what I think.
Mikey, what do you think about this season relative to last season and looking ahead to next season? Overall take on it.
At the beginning of the year, I saw there was some talent, but I was like, there really isn't a go-to guy. And sure enough, we found out throughout the season, there was not a go-to guy. It was interesting what he tried to do with, I thought that there were at least two or three guys from last season's team that he should have kept. I love you, Alain Fableux. But more talent, definitely. And they didn't finish with a losing record, but they also didn't win anything. Cronin says he's here to win a championship. It's year 6, guys. And the thing that I think is a big factor is recruiting or lack thereof. Because sure. So here, UCLA has NIL money. That's not the problem. The problem, I think, is the fact that elite players don't necessarily want to play here. They want to play fast. They want to score a lot. Defense is fine, but a lot of these AAU kids they're ballers. They want to be on the big stage, and UCLA is a big stage. But Cronin is a defensive-minded coach, and that's what he wants to do first. And that's why we see a lot of guys kind of get pulled because they're not doing what they're supposed to on defense, even though they are producing on offense. So I think it's just a lot of things that are coming together that have just kind of made this a good year. But it shouldn't be just a good year. These should be great years.
Especially after a bad year last year.
Yeah, especially. Yes, there was improvement. Sorry, I don't mean to cut you off.
Okay, no.
There was improvement from last year, definitely. But is this? Are we seeing the same thing over and over?
That's what I'm wondering, because to me, it's like two completely different versions of teams. It's two completely different experiments last year, this year, and then you add in the transition to the Big Ten and all that stuff. And it's like, I'm still in a very nice place with Cronin. I still like him. I still think that,
I do too.
In my opinion, I would like to watch a UCLA team win in the way that Mick Cronin wants to play a game. I like that personally. That's how it kind of goes back to
consistency.
Kind of goes back to the Howland style. It's like, if it's just a matter of him finding the right combination of players, I feel like he can coach at a very high level, and the team that he's going to coach is going to be one that I'm like, I kind of like watching this because they're going to be tough and gritty and grind it out and all that stuff. But I completely agree with both of you guys. They need a go-to player, and they need to figure that part out. They need to figure out that offensive part out. That's what I think. Mike, or actually Bill and then Mike. Bill, do you still think that Mick Cronin here at UCLA, Mike's talking about how maybe he's not going to get the superstar 5-star ballers, right? But can he still win at a very high level to the highest level, coaching the way he coaches with players that want to play for him?
Yes.
Because I think that answer is yes.
Yeah, the answer.
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
Totally.
Mike, you agree with that?
Yes, definitely.
So then it's like, really then it's just a matter of him adjusting to the changing times and whether he can do that and then still coach in the way that he wants to, which is coaching players, coaching his ass off and being hard on them in a world in which they could just leave after any particular season for more money or a similar amount of money and not get yelled at by a little tiny leprechaun man. Like that would be the biggest question in my mind. Is his model still feasible? And I think it is. But I mean, to the extreme, is it still feasible in a world in which the players can literally go whenever they want and don't have to get yelled at like this because there's plenty of coaches out there to say, "Oh, sure,
You're the best. You're the best.
You're awesome."
Yeah.
Is there any worry in your mind that maybe his style is becoming less feasible?
No, I think he's self-filtering.
I like that. Yeah.
He's self-filtering.
The players are like self-selecting too.
Self-filtering, self-selecting. Yeah.
Whatever. Yeah.
I think because as a player, and Mike's talked about, they know Cronin. They see him, like the camera has to pan away from him really quickly because he's about to MF somebody. You can
They
read
hear
his list.
from
yeah, they
players.
know. They know
all
who
these
he
kids
is.
have played together.
So they know it. But some kids, just like my sons, one of my sons, I remember told me, he's like, I want a coach to yell at me more. Other kids are like, I don't want a coach to yell at me. So it's just you're gonna find the players who they're gonna be good players who can handle it and really good players that cannot. So he can still coach. I believe he can.
Yeah.
That's my opinion.
Yeah, I just think, every coach has to adjust. I mean, every single coach has had to adjust the last 5 years. There's a reason, what's his name from Virginia's not there anymore.
Bennett.
Who's the other coach that just finished? Even Saban. Saban's kind of like, well, now that this is all legal, can't do it. There's no advantage.
Well, and he's like, I actually wanted players, players would come to me and say, "Coach, I want to do this for you, and this, I want to play this way, or I want to learn how to do this."
Now they're like,
and
"Give me money."
How much money, Coach? And that's his argument.
That's another. Yeah, that's another. Cronin has been ahead of that. He's been on the forefront. He's helped raise a lot of money. But again, are these players going to want to play this style? Can Cronin maybe switch it up a little bit to maybe have a little bit more offense? It's weird. I keep thinking about Ben Howland after the 3 Final Fours, where he went after the 4 and 5-star players, and then that kind of blew up in his face.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So it's like,
that's why I don't want to be a star fucker. I like his style, I like his thing. But you figure there's a lot of players out there. There should be enough to be able to win with the way that he wants to coach with players that want to be and coach in that style.
Yeah.
Sorry to cut you off, Mike.
No, that's basically it. And then if UCLA could say, hey, we can give you 7 figures. But what if another school comes up to them and says, hey, we'll give you a little less, but you're guaranteed a starting spot, and we're going to be on ESPN every other week. We're in the ACC, Big Ten, wherever it is. It's the money is a big thing, but there are a lot of other factors that these players are looking at. But a lot of them are looking to not only have playing time, but to win. Last year, I think, just kind of slowed that down for UCLA. But a better resume, not great, but this is something for Cronin to build off of. So I think he could sell this to a few players. But hopefully he sells it to an elite point guard, maybe another wing, and I'd be down for another big guy. But at least a really athletic guy. He has to try to figure out how to bring in a go-to guy.
Yeah, I think that's true. We won't go through the whole roster right now, but just in the last 24 hours. Oh, one more point I want to make is another thing that could help Cronin bring in players is having another group of guys. And it was weird because that first class he had was there forever, and then they leave.
Yeah.
But those are guys that represent UCLA well, represented Cronin well, and bought into Cronin quite a while. So, like, the more, how many Hawkettes you have out there balling in the NBA, or even Jalen Clark or Johnny Zhang to a lesser degree, or even Bona to a lesser degree, those guys represent how you can be at UCLA, improve your draft stock, and then go to the NBA and then actually,
Yeah.
earn, or show out.
But all those
You
guys,
need more guys like that.
all those guys are what? They're grinders.
Yeah,
They're
absolutely.
grinders who
we loved.
loved
Except for
to play
Johnny.
defense. Oh yeah, he
Except for
was a
Johnny.
grinder.
But still,
Yeah, but
there's room for a hired gun. Like we do, that's what we're screaming at. We
Yeah.
need a go-to guy. Bring in a hired gun, go-to guy, and you'll be good. They'll
Yeah.
protect you with all
it's
these
just
big
more
guys.
than 1 year. God, can we get someone who just at least has 2 years left on the
No kidding.
Lord God.
Yeah.
So with that being said, Mike, who are the guys that just went into the portal as of the last couple days?
That was Devin Williams, who redshirted this year. He played last year, not that many minutes, but a lot of people thought that he might do something with his team. And early on, we found out, he's going to redshirt, or Cronin said he was going to redshirt, which probably means that was a Cronin decision. And then William Kyle, a guy who was really good on the boards, had some pretty good defense, offense. Much to be desired, but he's in the portal.
So of those two, the guy who played was Kyle. William. How do you feel about William? Kyle no longer being part of the program. Big loss, little loss. We barely knew you.
Yeah, it's like I didn't see enough. I heard,
Yeah.
there wasn't enough from him of a forgot the word, but basically I just didn't see enough of him this year, right? For me to make and I don't know why. Maybe if he had gotten more playing time, maybe he would have become better. Because I know when he was out there, it wasn't like oh my God, who is this guy? It was just like, oh, okay, he's out there. Look, compared to Mara, he's way more athletic, way more, can move quicker and all that stuff. But it never really translated.
Yeah.
At least this season.
All right. Well, with that being said, okay, if you just listen to Mike and he said point guard, another big guy, go-to scorer. Did you say anything else, Mikey?
Wing. My go-to scorer would preferably be the point guard or the wing.
Gotcha.
I would like a wing.
If you would have listened to friend of the show Ben Bolch on PMS yesterday, I think when they were talking about the Cronin going forward, he kind of said something similar to that. Bill, we talk about the guys you'd like to see them. Who are the most important for you to retain off the roster this year, and then what would you like them to go get if you haven't already said it?
Well, who would I like them to retain would be Mata.
Yeah.
That's my number one in terms of retaining. If you can sort of build around him, this will be his third year. I also, in terms of people I'd like to, maybe switch out. I think Dylan has played out his, played his course here at UCLA in terms of what he can show, and God bless him. He gave us some good years, and also, and everything in between. How about that? So I think we could switch that out. I think I am not the biggest Mac fan. I didn't see the uncontrollable. Very good. That's a great song, by the way. I didn't see in his 2 years his calming down of the drive to the basket, drive to nowhere kind of thing. I thought he would probably mature with that, but he's still the same guy there, and not the best defender. Guys I liked. I like Sky Clark. Tyler Bilodeau, I mean, I'll let Mike talk about this. Like, he offensively awesome, defensively.
Bilodeau still have eligibility?
I believe so, right, Mike? Doesn't he have one more year of eligibility?
Who's that?
Tyler Bilodeau.
Yes. The only guys that are leaving that were on the team this year was Dominic Harris, who never got a chance. That was a head scratcher. Kobe Johnson and Lazar Stefanovic.
And then Eric Daly, awesome usually. It's a little streaky, but a really good offensive player. Not really good defensively. And I don't know how that... See, that's the thing about it. We talked about self-selecting. If you're not a good defensive player, why are you coming to Cronin?
Unless you're going to work your ass off to become a better defender.
Yeah, and I didn't see Eric becoming a better defender by the end of the year. He was still the same defender. A lot of lapses, but good Lord, on the offensive side, he could really just light it up.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think I'm with you guys. I want to see a guy that can come out here and just ball it up, and then within the system, I kind of just want to see like another model like those early years of Cronin with John Zing out there scoring all the points, and then
you just want to go to guys. So you want to go
all these grinder guys. Like
I want something as close to Jaime Jaquez as possible.
And then you have a guy like Jaime who's like a jack of all trades. Let's go kick ass, and just competitors, man. All these guys. Those are fun teams to watch for me, and it's fun to watch them go into the tournament And even if they're the lower seed, they're just going to take someone's chain. And, we saw an epic run with Cronin early with guys like that. The Howland years were reminiscent of that at times, although they became front runners at a certain point. And, you don't go to 3 straight Finals Fours on accident, but those are my favorite moments of Bruin basketball while I've been alive. While I've been a Bruin, it's those 3 Final Four years where you're making Adam Morrison cry and things like that.
Yeah,
that's what I relish as a UCLA basketball fan. So I feel like Cronin is still the guy who can field teams like that. So there we go. Now, with that being said, there's still a UCLA team that's still in the gosh darn tournament. So let's talk about that.
Women's.
Women's basketball in the Sweet 16.
Basketball.
Here we go.
Basketball.
Wow. So, Mike.
What's up?
They won a couple games.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What'd you think?
Took down number 16 seed Southern, 84-46. That seemed like a no-brainer as Southern plays a lot slower defensive-minded ball, but they haven't played anyone as close to UCLA this season, and so I nearly predicted this. I think I was like 6 points off of predicting this score.
Nice work, Mike.
But that game, the Bruins just went off, and that was a Friday night game. So then they had a matchup with number 8 Richmond, and that was a little bit suspicious. I knew that they would have a harder time because Richmond was I think second or third best shooting team in the nation.
What's
Lauren
the girl's
Betts
name?
didn't have a tough time.
What's the girl's name from
Which one?
Richmond? Dugan? Is it Dugan?
Yeah.
Is that her name?
Yeah.
Corey needs to freaking recruit her. She's lights out, guys. She's a baller.
That would be a good transfer.
That would be a great transfer. I don't know what year she is, but
Just
she
a
was
baller, man.
she was lighting it up.
Yeah, especially in the first half, and that was a thing. It's funny, and I'm surprised that people have actually followed me on this. But I joked early in the season that UCLA women's basketball has 3 phases. Phase 1, they go out to a fast start, maybe jump out to a 10-point lead. Phase 2 usually happens about around the second quarter because UCLA has some epic lulls this year in the second quarter, and that's phase 2 where they basically forget to shoot, and so other teams kind of get back in. But then phase 3, they just blow teams out of the water.
I was going to talk about that, Mike.
Kind of like the Ohio State game that we talked about a few times.
Yeah.
But I think like the first half, it's sort of like, and then the third quarter, they're like, screw this.
Oh yeah, they did not get into phase 1. They went right to phase 2.
For both of those games, I was like,
Yeah, even
Tied
the,
at 36 against the Spiders.
even
That's
even
what
in
I'm
the
saying.
Southern game, they had a bit of a second
you're
quarter
like,
lull.
what are you doing, guys? Well, I don't
Yeah.
understand it, but I don't know what happens. What Coach Close says at halftime, but damn, they come out and it's like, all right, we're UCLA. Let's wrap this up.
Yeah, come on, let's go. Yeah, 38-38 at halftime. Richmond was just on a tear. Like they came out with so much
36.
freaking energy. They came out with so much freaking energy, and it seemed like UCLA. I don't think I've never seen UCLA unprepared, or it seems like UCLA could just walk in and just take a game. But it kind of felt like that in the first half, and it was like, all right, y'all, you got to wake up. Damn. Then then the third quarter happens. They blew the doors off of it. They outscored them 29-7. Spencer Brown for the Daily Bruin, he was sitting next to me in that game, and he goes, he nudges me. He goes, dude, they scored 22 points in 6 minutes. In the first 6 minutes of the second half, they scored 22 points.
29-7 in the third.
29-7 total in the third, and it was like,
And then look at the chart.
They just, oh god, it was gorgeous.
Can I ask a quick question? This is this part is just different from men's basketball, but it's amazing, it's awesome, and I wish this could happen for the men's. But I'm assuming all the number 1 seeds get to play their first couple games at home, because it's like I'm sitting there looking, going,
yeah.
this is awesome.
Yeah.
You're at Poly? How freaking cool is that?
And
Mike hates this, by the way.
Why
I
do you
don't
this?
hate it, but
Why do
hates
you
it. He
hate
hates it.
that?
for
He
one,
hates game at Poly.
For one, no, I don't. Oh, well, here's the thing. Okay, there's so much calamity, especially in the first weekend of the men's bracket. You don't get that. It's usually chalk, and that's why a lot of people have more success with the women's bracket, their bracket challenges, than they do men's, because you have no idea what the hell's going to happen, and everyone is at a different location. I think that would give, and yes, I would give UCLA and the other number 1s and number 2s less of a chance. But I think it's grown big enough to where they can play in different locations, different sites.
We talked about
but
this
at the same time, yeah, having that first weekend advantage,
That's freaking sweet.
Yeah.
Well, number one, it's great for the higher seeds, but we talked about this last week, Bill, in that the women's tournament, women's basketball as a whole, I think Caitlin Clark last year, you think about the Stars this year, UCLA's big run, Juju before the injury, all this stuff. The sport has never been healthier, probably, than it's probably as healthy as ever been, right? Yeah. And it's getting more exposure than it probably ever has.
Yeah.
But is the money, the actual nuts and bolts, the logistics of it, has it caught up with the men's?
No.
Not even remotely. It's a different level of magnitude, and they already are pouring, this is my opinion, they're already pouring a shit ton of money to help foster the exposure that it's getting. And it is getting eyeballs, and it is getting exposure, and it is growing, but it's still not justifiable for them to say, okay, we're going to have fucking 32 locations across the country, or whatever it was, however the men's is probably like 16 or 18 or whatever. We're going to spread it all across the country at neutral sites to make sure all these teams are, it's as neutral as possible. No, it's still at a point now where they're like, we're going to televise everything and pump the shit out of it and get on, try to give it as the appearance of equal standing as it can. But the numbers don't justify, and they're not going to get crowds at opening round games at neutral sites for UCLA versus fucking who they play in the first round? Southern. There's going to be 14 people in the audience if they played that in Fresnec. Okay, that's all I'm saying. That's my point. I'm sorry, Mike. Rebuttal time.
But I think you just won. That's my point was that they're doing the same thing that they did 10 years ago, but the money is way more. There's a whole lot more money right now. But when you put it that way, I'm like, yeah, fuck it. Let's keep it. Awesome. Let's keep it this way.
You put it on TV, and
you just won the argument.
Yeah, the home team gets the big crowd there, and it looks great on TV. But if you put it somewhere fucking random, then all of a sudden it looks like shit, and then Stephen A. Smith is talking shit. It's like there you go. Sorry,
and he's not from South Carolina.
Anyways,
my other thing is okay. All four regions, two of them. There are four regions, but they're held in just two spots. So there's a Spokane 1 region and a Spokane 2. UCLA was the number 1 for Spokane 1. USC was Spokane 2, yada, yada, yada. That, at the very least, the Sweet 16s, those you can have in 4 different locations. I mean, I think we're at the point where, you know what? Yeah, again, you won. Keep it with the number 1s hosting, 1s, 2s, 3s, and 4s. But at least the regionals, spread that out.
Yeah,
I mean,
and maybe
how
in
much
10 years
more?
it is different.
And then, Spokane. Can you imagine if this was, if the Sweet 16 was in Fresno or San Francisco or Phoenix, you would get those UCLA fans. You would get those. Who else is in this? Ole Miss, LSU, NC State.
Yeah, much higher chance.
They would pack.
Much higher chance.
They would pack that. So that I think they still need to spread that out. But anyway.
All right. So with that being said,
digress.
The bracket's there now. Mike, do you have any thoughts on the women's matchup coming up on, is it Thursday or Friday?
Friday at 7 p.m. Pacific.
And then who they may face if they advance to the Elite Eight.
Well, as of now, at 4:30 p.m., the first game in Spokane 1 will be, where is it? NC State, the number 2 seed, against LSU, the number 3 seed. So that's intriguing.
That's
because,
a good game.
That's going to be huge. Now, let's say UCLA and LSU win. That's going to be a rematch for the Bruins in the Elite Eight. So that would be a very intriguing game to see if UCLA can get some payback. Angel Reese is not on the team anymore, although Flau'jae Johnson was the one that kicked the crap out of the Bruins last year. She's still on the team.
Right.
But that'll be a good matchup. But I think NC State might squeak this out. But UCLA goes against Ole Miss. They were number 5. I think they were, they beat Baylor, who was number 4.
So regardless, UCLA is going to play a couple games against Southerners.
Yes.
And UCLA needs to represent and send those Southerners back to the South.
In the Pacific Northwest, yes.
Let's go.
Yes, exactly.
All right.
And the Ole Miss game is going to be interesting because they very good grinded out defensive team. Now, and I think that matches up with UCLA a lot better, especially how to start games, because if they could just shut them down, if they could figure out quickly, and that's the good thing about what this coaching staff does. They see what is going on in game, halftime, make adjustments, second, third quarter, make adjustments, and then they just go on a run in the second half. So I think they're going to be able to run away with this against Ole Miss.
According to ESPN,
Mhm.
they are an 80.4% chance of victory on Win Predictor, and they're an 8.5 point favorite in the spread. But I think we can all agree, Bill, Mike, tell me if you disagree with the statement. We are now, being in the Sweet 16, the Bruins should win all these games, but we're now in very firm territory of if they don't play well, they could get beat. But
Yes.
you know,
Yes.
they weren't going to get beat by Southern. They probably weren't going to get beat by
Richmond.
the Spiders.
Spiders.
So-
And eventually they smashed those spiders like a girl terrified of spiders and just gathering up her strength, going ah,
Like
you know?
Sarah.
Like Sarah, like my wife, like any of my daughters. You know, they just smashed those damn spiders. I was happy to see it. But now they can't be effing around against Ole Miss, right? Ole
No,
Miss,
no, they were a very good defensive team.
those
Very
misses
sound.
from Old Miss, those little misses from Old Miss could really, could get the Bruins if the Bruins are screwing around.
Yeah, well, that's what they have to have a strong, have a fast start.
That's
They-
what I'm saying.
They cannot have these lulls.
Let's
Yeah.
go.
Yeah.
Let's go, ladies. So, Mike, before we move on to the possible next round against the NC State or LSU, what do you think the big thing is against Ole Miss? Like, what's the key stuff?
To get out to that fast start and stay ahead, London Jones has to start hitting threes early. I'm not worried about Lauren Betts at all. She actually handled herself against the double and triple teams. But yeah, she's going to go against some tougher competition here. She needs to just go up with the ball. Once she gets it in the post, just go up. And she has this thing where she tries to go she goes to her right, into the paint, into double teams. She needs to just go to the left and just put it up. She is just too damn tall and long to not be able to score like that, and even quicker too. But yeah, Kiki Rice and Gabriela Jaquez, I think, are probably going to be the keys to this game. I think if one has a really good game, it'll be okay. But if both of them are playing at the top of their game, I think they're going to blow them out.
What is the height of the tallest Miss Rebel?
6'5".
6'4".
Yeah.
Bruins have
Wait. So when you,
the tallest Rebel is 6'4".
guys, and everyone knows this, your list height is always what, an inch or two higher than what you really are.
Yeah, and it's funny.
But then that might be relative. Then that means that Lauren Betts might be 6'5".
No,
6'7".
no, because
She's a legit
she's listed as 6'7" in the post game, and I heard this on multiple occasions. They were saying that Lauren Betts is 6'8". I'm like, huh.
Well, there
the
you
other
go.
Way.
All right. I'm just saying, you got a girl that's way taller than all them other girls.
Yeah.
So let's just
Yeah.
go with that. And she's also happens to be
by
your
the
best
way,
player.
did you hear?
Let's lean on that maybe a little bit.
You mean the same way we should be doing that with Mara?
Yeah, maybe a little bit.
Oh, Jesus.
Although I think Lauren Betts has proven herself a whole hell of a lot more many times over than Mara ever has.
Oh, no. She's better than, I'm just saying, big person in the middle, though.
Did you guys hear the post game from the Richmond game?
Yeah, Mike, I did. What you remind me what they said.
I kind of embarrassed Lauren Betts. Well, I didn't particularly. So when it came to I wanted to ask a question outside the box. People were talking about
I love that,
the
Mike.
lull, the explosion in the second half. Right before I sat down for that interview, Michael Thompson, Laker champion and announcer, he tweeted out the top three greatest UCLA centers are number 1 Kareem, number 2 Bill Walton, and number 3 Lauren Betts.
That was you?
Wow.
And I asked her, I was like, what are your initial thoughts of that? And she goes, oh, wow, that's crazy. I don't know. Thank you. And she just kind of giggled, and like the whole room just kind of laughed with her. I thought that was
Mike, why
that
did
was
you
a
tell
cool
me? I
moment.
would have pulled that, you son of a bitch. You got to tell me these things.
I don't know.
We're going to promote you. That was great.
Pause
Not
it
you,
right
Mike.
now. Let's cut it.
Yeah. Too much work.
All right. I gotta bring it up. So.
Bill's gotta go. I need that before.
But yeah, so they just need to play. They need to play hard. Kiki needs to be, at the top of her game. Gabriella didn't have as good as a game this last contest, but I think she really needs to be. Even if she doesn't score points, she needs to be in the face of the people, the players she's defending. Because man, have you seen her scowl? Oh, she just gives dirty looks sometimes. I'm like, ooh, that just do not want to be defended by that. But they just cannot, and I don't think they do. This coaching staff has always had this roster ready for games. So I think it's just they have to wait and see how Ole Miss plays, and then they'll make adjustments. But I think I'm going to go with a double-digit win. Maybe not 20 points, but say 12, 13. I'll have my final analysis on Bruin Report at the end of the week.
Wow.
Hi, bro.
Then the NC State game, Mikey. How do you feel about that game? if they play them or LSU? Who would you rather them see? Would you like them to get some evil hellish revenge over the stupid LSU? Go Tigers. Or do you want them to face the Wolfpack and send them back to their den of wolves?
Yeah, exactly. NC State's really good. They're both really good. Both really good offensive teams. Here's what I hope. I hope whoever wins, I hope they beat the crap out of each other.
Oh, yeah.
And whoever wins, it doesn't matter because they'll wear them out. Have them be tired. That's why. That's another reason why it'll be important for UCLA to jump out to a big lead and keep that lead. They can maybe pull their starters. Yeah, but that game is at 7 p.m. Pacific time on the ESPN. So, yeah. So,
all right. Well, there you go.
Go Bruins.
Bill and Mike.
Yeah.
And me. I just want to ask one simple question. We'll get out of women's basketball, then we're going to move on. Okay. Bill, how disappointed would you be if women's basketball does not make it to the Final Four after this weekend?
I'd be pretty darn disappointed. Why?
Yeah,
they're
why?
the number one overall seed. They've played very well all freaking year, right? They've lost one game.
Absolutely.
No. How many games? 1, 2, 3. 3 games. They lost to SC twice.
They lost to SC twice. That's
SC
it.
twice.
Oh, that's it.
That
was the only.
They're undefeated against everybody but
They are
SC.
30. They are 32-2 on this season.
Okay, so there you go. I mean, hearing that's insanity. That's
You're
amazing.
right.
So yes, I would be disappointed if they don't make it to the Final Four, right? And even that, hell, guys, I'm going to be disappointed if they don't make it to at least the championship game. Like seriously,
UCLA football.
it's not like they suck. It's not like they're barely getting in.
Yeah.
Mikey?
Well, and you've heard this last year, and I reiterated it this year. Corey Close needed some hardware. So first off, I forgot to say this. She won the USWBA Coach of the Year award, which is much deserved.
I'm happy that UCLA
I will
won.
count that as part hardware for her to achieve. That she hasn't done that yet, but winning the Big Ten tournament,
That was
huge.
awesome.
That was huge.
good.
She finally has some hardware, and I said after that, at very least, making it to the Final Four will really make this a successful season because that's an achievement.
Do you guys count the Final Four as quote unquote hardware?
Banner, I kind of counted it in that.
I kind of do.
Wait a second. I do, but does UCLA? No. We do, but does UCLA hang a Final Four banner for women?
Basketball,
I don't know.
absolutely.
I don't know if they
have
do
because they never even made it.
I'm with you. I'm just saying. Do you think the powers that be will go nothing but championship?
Yeah,
I'm just saying that a Final Four this year for for women's basketball, it's certainly not
that
the
will be
goal,
successful. Yeah,
but I think that's the point at which you can say, okay, this season wasn't a disappointment. Was it, glorious, amazing? Not necessarily because they were the number one seed, but I think that's where they get to the point where it's like, okay, all these games now are going to be kind of coin flippy at that point. But this game against they were playing
Ole Miss.
Ole Miss, thank you. It's not a coin flip. They should win.
Yeah.
LSU,
They should
don't
win
come
by
in with the
double
freaking
digits.
Tigers. Wolfpack, get out of here, Wolfpack. They should win these games. They should be in the Final Four. And anything short of that is a disappointment.
Yeah.
Okay? So once we get to the Final Four, then to me, obviously we want them to win the title, but it's gravy at that point, in my opinion, just based on like the baseline.
Yeah.
I think that's fair. You think that's fair? In a single
Very
elimination
much
tournament? Bill thinks it's fair. He's thumbs up at me. Okay, great. Guess what time it is? Wait, Mike's got one more thing.
Just really quickly, I know we don't talk about Trojans in a negative light, but that was rough to see Juju Watkins go down. Mostly because you just want to see competitors. And what I was hoping to see UCLA and USC in the Final Four.
I was not.
That would have been epic. No, and we talked about this last week. If USC loses, but this is not how.
In the immortal words of Matrix.
Yeah,
not like this.
Not like this.
Not like
Not
this.
like this.
Thank you,
No,
Trinity.
that was-
Thank you, Trinity.
Oh,
No, it wasn't Trinity. It was the blonde hair. Platinum blonde
the
hair.
blonde lady. Yeah, the blonde lady.
Yeah.
The blonde lady is about
Dude,
to buy
I was
it.
just thinking that. Nice.
No, that was excellent. That was excellent.
thank you.
But no, but just the way that, because she's a baller. You want to see her lose
She gets all three.
when she's your rival. And she's
a baller.
she's put some attitude up against UCLA, but just the way it went down, not like this.
To be
Not
clear,
like
the What's Bruin Show stance is we were hoping that SC, I was hoping SC would lose before any matchup with UCLA. But
at full
I
strength.
completely agree with Bill in the not like this argument. And yes, I was very Very sad for Juju Watkins to see her go down in the way in which she did.
And considering it's an ACL tear, she's probably going to be out for most of next season too.
Yeah, everything I've heard is like she'll be
Wow.
back after next year and have a couple years left
Yeah.
to do her thing. But whatever. SC, yeah, we're sad for Juju. Hopefully now SC dies a horrible death on the court.
Well,
And-
everyone else
You know,
kicked the crap out of.
but yes, we agree with all those sentiments.
Yeah.
So there it is.
And
Right
big
there.
shout out to Bruins who actually did not trash her. And were
Why
like,
would someone do that?
Because people are
Yeah,
God.
tasteless.
Yeah.
Classic.
God.
Have you not been
It's okay.
around for this UCLA
It
USC
happens.
football team?
It happens.
I mean,
I mean, to be fair, not that it was an illegal hit at the time, but I mean, everybody in this room, raise your hands if you celebrated Matt Barkley getting deboned by fucking Anthony Barr.
but that was a legal
absolutely,
hit.
it wouldn't be anymore, but it was wonderful.
It was a legal
but
hit
was he
then.
injured? But was he injured on play?
Yeah, but it was.
And we are like, every time we do it, like a little bit of Michael and Alicia's soul kind of dies every.
But don't
No,
give me
because
that.
he got
but
hurt?
football and basketball.
but it's one of my favorite plays of all time.
Yes.
No, but then they counter often. Love you guys. What was it? Troy Polamalu who hit.
Yeah.
What is?
No, it wasn't Troy.
Helmet
it was
to
not.
helmet.
It was my. Halava.
But you know which one I was talking about.
He hit
He hit the
13
quarterback.
13-9 is the game where our quarterback got leveled. He went helmet to helmet, and everyone was like,
going
"Ooh,
out of bounds. Yeah,
out of bounds."
Yeah,
And
because
that was like a fair
there's
hit.
a lot
that
of
was
things.
brutal. That was brutal.
This Juju thing isn't like that,
Yeah, no, that's
and we're just saying,
yeah.
whatever it is. Yeah, we hope her speedy recovery.
What's the guy's name? It was
I
not
can't- Mayava?
Mayav?
No,
No. What was his name?
I don't know.
You know what I'm talking
Yeah,
about.
Anyway,
Anyways,
Peloto.
I'm not blessed with knowledge of the USC rosters
F those
over the
guys.
years.
Anyways.
I don't even remember our quarterback who did that.
he had the amazing stash.
Was it Kraft?
He had the stash.
Oh,
He had an amazing stash.
We are really losing it now.
they're from Pico Rivera.
Cowan.
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 Jake.
Cowan.
Wait,
There's
Joe
a-
Cowan or was it Pat Cowan? Which one was the
Pat.
receiver?
Shit.
It's Pat Cowan.
Pat Cowan, yes.
There's a Joe Cavan on the Grizzlies.
No, but there's a
Rip.
Joe Cowan and a Pat Cowan.
Yeah,
right?
they were
Pat
brothers.
Cowan.
They both went to UCLA.
Yeah.
Pat.
Pat was the
Pat
quarterback.
was the quarterback.
I'm gonna
yeah.
look it up while we play the theme, but yeah.
Even if it isn't, still, it's
There
that
we go.
was a
Hey,
brutal hit.
It's Bill's favorite part of the show.
You got the touch. You got the power.
We're not done.
Oh dear God.
We don't
The
own it.
never-ending story.
We never have. We have to relive all these.
We never have.
Atreyu.
What was the name of that band? Jamal?
Go ask Megan if we have it. I don't think we have it.
Oh God. The never-ending story.
I'm 99% sure that we don't have it. Sweetheart.
Lamel.
What's brewing with you? You ask me. What's brewing with me? Yeah. What's brewing with you? What's brewing with me? What's brewing with you?
Lamal. That's who it was.
Lamar was the name of the never-ending
band.
story.
Yeah. Awesome.
Dream a dream.
No matter what you dream.
Breaking news on a weekly basis.
Breaking
I
news.
don't remember that.
What is breaking news?
What'd you do?
It was Pat Cowan.
It was Pat
Yes,
Cowan. Okay.
nice.
Yeah. 12 of 21, 114 yards, 5.4
Pico
average
Rivera
yards
represent.
per pass, 68.3% QBR rating, and a win over John David freaking Booty and CJ Gable and all those dicks over there at SC. Stupid Fred
How do
Davis,
you really
Steve
feel?
Smith. Yeah, F those guys. Dwayne Jarrett. F
See,
you.
there's a difference between how we treat
13-9.
USC
Where's the
football
picture?
players on this
Right
show.
there. That's why I
And-
put it behind it. I was like,
Yeah.
13-9.
There we are right there. Anywho. Okay. Hey, what's wrong with you guys? Mikey,
Oh, me. All right. Yeah.
start us off.
Yeah, just covering 4 straight days of UCLA basketball. Thursday was covering from a distance the men's game. Friday went to Poly Pavilion for the women's game. Saturday covering the men's game that ended in a whimper, and then Sunday at Poly Pavilion for that game. So yeah, it was just all Bruin ball. But in between that, I was Saturday night hung out with some coworkers. We went to and this is my new favorite place, at least on the west side, Santa Monica Brew Works. Nice little place. I mean, it's like a feels like a factory. I kind of like breweries that kind of like look like factories, and then they have the big old tins and all that. But I never been there, and asked my coworker, hey, do they have any TVs? Is there music? What goes on there? And she goes, oh, I don't know if there's TV. They sometimes has music or bands, blah, blah, blah. No bands, no, they were playing music, but huge TV screens. And I was like, Meg, what the hell? This is gorgeous. They have basketball all over. The only thing is, on a Saturday, it closed at 11. But they were like, her and her husband, Harris, I love this guy. He's quiet as hell. He's from Slovenia, but he's been in America for like 20 years. He still has his accent, but oh, dude, he loves European DJs. He's a DJ, so we talk a lot about like DJ culture in the 90s and raves and trance and techno and all that. He's a really cool guy. But they're like, hey, let's go to this place, Chez J. I'm like, where is this place? I've never heard of it.
This is Chez J.
It's a little tiny bar about 2 blocks south of the entrance to the Santa Monica Pier, right near 3rd Street Promenade. And you go in there, and it's just nautical theme. You're by Santa Monica.
Portals in the walls.
Yeah, exactly. Peanuts on the floor. Apparently, at one point, for a photo op, they had an elephant in the bar. I have no idea how they got it in there because it was a regular human-sized doorway. Either way, Meg and Harris are telling me the history of this place. They've been there before. There's this one back room where apparently the Rat Pack just partied all the time. Apparently that's where Marilyn went to go visit JFK. There it is. Jake's pulling it up on the big screen. And another tidbit, Ben Affleck and Damon Albarn. Not Damon Albarn. Who's the shorter one, the squeaky one, the mousy one?
Ben Affleck
and Matt
Damon. There you go. That's where they wrote in a week.
What name did you come up with as
Damon
an
Albarn from Blur. From Blur.
Is that?
From Blur. Do you not know that?
I'm just saying, like,
Yeah,
how did we get that with Ben Affleck?
Oh, I was trying to think of Matt Damon.
Gotcha.
Albarn. Anyway,
I got you.
so they spent a week in that back room writing
Good Will Hunting.
Good Will Hunting. So there's a whole history of play. Like apparently celebrities go in there willy nilly, just I'm gonna have a beer, I'm gonna have a drink, and then they just mosey on over.
His cocktails look good.
Yeah, really good drinks. Really good drinks. But yeah, so I'd had that quick adventure out there in Santa Monica, a new place that
That's
I've
awesome,
never.
Mike.
I love learning about new spots that are and places that I pass by 1,000 times in my life. So yeah,
So you would recommend it?
Oh God, we all gotta go. We gotta go.
Let's go.
And
Let's
then
go. Right now. Let's go.
let's go. I'm down.
Who's
I'm down.
drinking? Let's go.
I'm down. Then we can go to that Eagles bar.
Yes, please.
The Britannia. That's a cool spot. They have karaoke on Saturday nights. I love Santa Monica.
Very good.
Yeah, I work out on the west side, but I don't get to play out on the west side that often. So it was really fun. It was a nice evening too. So that was cool. Bill, haven't seen you in forever.
I know.
What's brewing with you, bro?
Well, what's brewing with you is what we talked about at the beginning of this. Man, this was a rare treat and a great treat to have not only the Merrifields but MIKE come
That's right.
to my boys' volleyball game.
Yeah, Jake brought it up. I was like, wait, high school volleyball?
Yeah, I mean,
Hells yeah.
it was
UCLA, fight.
it was a tough game. The team we played was pretty darn good. But it was after you missed the first game was just ugly. But the second and third match,
They're competitive. Yeah,
they were competitive, and the boys
are always competed.
Well, that first game was a little rough. But
Little BBL, but that's okay.
yeah, yeah. But the second and third game, it was like they said, competitive, and the boys played well. But it was great. Overall, just great to see longtime friends come out and support the boys. It's really cool. And so thank you guys, number one, for that. And it was fun. We did get a picture. I was like, why didn't we effing get a picture?
It'll be the title picture on the show. So just look in the
okay,
look at
good.
your podcast app, and that's us.
That
at the
is
game.
okay. All right, good. So that was what's brewing with me just today. What a great day to have that. Jake, what's brewing with you?
I talked about in last July, how I was like efforting trying to, for the first time in my life, run 50 miles in a month, and I was running pretty regularly. That's been great, but starting like in the late fall, like November-ish, I started picking up the pace again, so to speak, and I have
10Ks now, aren't you?
hit my 3 months in a row, my high of running mileage. So I cracked 50 again in January, 50.1, and then by the way, thank you, Jack Rosenfeld. You're my inspiration. In February, 64.2.
64. So
In the
what is
month.
that per day or per?
That's like over 2 miles a day.
Okay.
Yeah, right.
Got
I mean,
it.
30, 28
Yeah,
days in February,
sure.
right?
Yeah.
And then March, so far, I'm at 67.2 miles.
So you could get to 70 before the end of the month.
I can get, let me look. I'll tell you exactly probably what I'm going to get to.
You have till Monday.
If I'm at 67, I'm going to run on I'm going to
Wait,
run.
you're at 67 trying to get to 70?
I'm going to run 3 more times.
Oh, then you'll pass.
And I'm going to run at least 5 miles each time. So I'm
then
going to
yes.
get to 70. I'm going to get to at least to 82 miles.
So
in a month.
how's your
That's
body?
pretty great. Unless my body gives out and I die somewhere on Rinaldi.
Hey,
and
Jake.
I have to get scraped up off the pavement.
Don't.
Thank you, Mike. That's very inspirational.
How's your
It's
body
very
han-
inspirational.
handling this higher
Trying to help
mileage?
out.
That's a crazy thing about this is that, I'm going to have to change my shoes up probably more regularly now because I'm putting a lot of miles on them. But
I was just going to ask, what's your shoe
I
situation?
dropped-
How often do you change?
I get my Hokas, and in general, I've been doing it like
do you like those?
I love them.
life-changing, by the way.
Really?
Oh, they're
Absolutely.
great.
Yeah,
They're
I get the most cushiony ones, and those pretty much made it where a few years ago, but so famously for me,
Second question. Do you
Do you
use
want to
them
answer the first one
specifically for? Yeah, sorry. Yeah. Do you use them specifically for running?
that's the only time I wear
Ever?
them.
Okay, good.
I only wear them when I run. I have running shoes, and then when they
Okay,
get
good.
retired, then they become my walking shoes if I walk up and down the hill. But they're only for running. I only wear them when I'm running. But to answer your question, number one,
Sorry.
no, it's okay, Mike. You can ask more questions. Famously for us, when we were here like 4 years ago when Megan first went to Berkeley, that was the last time I got pretty, into running to the point where I was like actually improving my statistics and all that stuff. And I was running pretty regularly. And then the day that I drove Megan to Berkeley for the first time, I was sobbing like a baby on the treadmill and fell off the treadmill and wrecked my shoulder.
Yeah.
And then that like killed me for like months. I wasn't running or anything. I got really out of shape at that point. Since then, and this goes to your question about the Hokas, Mike. I started wearing Hokas like 5 or 6 years ago, and I went from instantly. It turned me into a runner where after every run I'd have to take a couple days off because my knees were so hurt.
Mhm.
Now this last stretch of 6 months, I've been running every other day religiously.
Nice.
At a minimum 3 miles, but more right per on average 5 miles. And now I'm running like 10Ks twice a week pretty much, and then the other was a 5 mile. But I don't really have any soreness at all, so to speak. Knock on wood, cross my fingers.
That's good.
I'm actually just feeling good, and I dropped a lot of weight. I've
That-
dropped like
Yeah, yeah.
20
That's good as skinny as F.
Yeah.
I
and
dropped like 20
that-
pounds since like November, but
That's the key, though.
yeah,
Because what do they
that's
say?
a big
like,
part of it.
What is it?
If I was heavier,
the
I'd
ratio,
be screwed.
the ratio of weight to your knee, like how
Yeah.
much is actually the pressure on your knees. The more you
Definitely.
drop weight, the better
Definitely.
it is.
But so anyway, so it's all working out fine now.
Yes.
There have been moments when I've been like jogging in the morning and stuff, and I'm like, this would really suck if like I started to get some sort of degenerative injury that would like kill my mojo right now. But as of right now, I'm not quite 50 yet, and I'm going strong. So we'll see
That's good.
how many more years I last. So
That's good.
anywho, that was something that was kind of shocking me when I because the way
He's
I got
just
to
a
those
baller,
numbers.
man.
Thank you, Mike. I appreciate that.
Straight baller.
I hadn't added my treadmill runs into my stats.
Yeah.
And then I figured out how to do it like this last week. So then I did it, and I'm like, holy shit, I ran a lot. So
Yeah.
that's where that came from. But anyways, guys, this is wonderful. Bill,
Yes.
this is
yeah.
wonderful.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely.
Yeah, it's
Nice welcome surprise.
I know. That was, hey, thanks for
You
coming
got all
out to the
nostalgic
game.
today, man.
Thanks for coming
Yeah.
out to the game. That
And
was awesome.
yeah, obviously you're always welcome. He actually asked if you come on the show, and I'm like,
I was like, what do you mean ass?
Bill, it's your show.
Get
You just show up. That's all
yeah,
you gotta
just show up and say,
Doing it.
But yeah, I'm sure everybody loves having you back on the show. The listeners we still have, and
the three.
the three. And I'll tell you who's got a super boner right now. It's fucking Shame Dog. Where's that? But with that being said, guys, thank you for joining the show. Bill, you're always welcome. Mikey,
Yes.
I'll see you next week when we talk about the women in the. So it better be in the goddamn Final
It
Four.
has to be the final,
Yeah.
right?
yep,
Okay.
yep,
It'll be after we go watch
Yeah.
the boys play volleyball again.
yep.
So I don't know, maybe if Bill will fill massage again. I doubt it. But maybe he will. And he'll come back over again. Another one-off. But until next time, guys, how about a chorus? Bill, Mike, the end of the show. And what do we say?
Go Bruins.
Good enough.
Sorry.
Good evening.
Smoke 'em if you got 'em.
That was the What's Bruin Show.
Try us tomorrow. Same bat time, same bat channel.
It's gotta be in or out, Mom. In or out. Well, I need the door closed.
Thank you for your cooperation.
Dude, bro, we play some ball on the West Coast.
The final word is boob.